here's your libraries, here's your code. Do you need any support? Here's some tokens to get going to try it out. Here's the test network, etc. Very easy onboarding for builders, and then collaboration there. If one builder's building something and found how to work around something, another builder can help each other, rather than, oh, you might be a competitor and I want to keep this secret, which I saw, which is really sad. For us, I think it's open discussion is absolutely 100% important. We definitely saw the biggest mind-blowing aspect was the, govern.iota, where they just kicked me out in the end because they didn't want, and they kicked other people out. They didn't want people to criticize the decisions they were proposing in iota.govern on discourse. And that's just sad. That's literally what I believe, decentralized autonomous organization, decentralized collaboration and building, and these decentralized networks are getting away from, is banks saying, you're going to be unbanked, or a government saying, we're not going to allow you to talk. We're not going to allow you to build because we don't like what you're building. Let the market decide that. That's really ultimately what it's supposed to be about. But for us, we want to support open discussion, both positive and critical. And then there's always that line that's really difficult. It's probably one of the most difficult things I think that we see is, where is that line from, hey, we want to allow you open to free speech, free discussion, but if you're just, sending racist, insults, and you're being aggressive and you're hurting actual individuals with language, ultimately that's not a discussion. And that's quite difficult to, monitor that and mod that. I think, that's just something that transparency comes into play. I think, definitely people get emotional, especially in certain decisions that need to be made that have really two contrasted views. And it's okay. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just, people will get emotional. People might get go back and forth in texting on in discourse. And then, the cool down periods, I think, are really good. I've seen that work, or a couple hour mute, etc. But the banning has always seemed to be a little excessive. Of course, when we look at, spamming, that's different. Scamming, of course. But unless someone's just, and I think down the line, we can certainly, have committees for that, and just be transparent and open. I think IOTA got a little too much in their Discord from just banning anyone that didn't seem to support their decisions or seem to ask good questions when information was being obviously hidden and falsified that we all knew came out later, like certain things, like, what was it, like, hey, there's actually no cubic code. Why is there a countdown? Let's be real here. Is it going to come? Oh, it's going to be the most amazing smart contract ever. And, the countdown is 3 months from now. It's going to be the greatest thing possible. And when someone says, well, can we just see some of the code? Oh, you're banned, because that clearly went against their excitement of it, which, yeah, we don't need to go into. But I think, that's just a foundational thing. Again, if we want the community to grow, there's tons of people in this ecosystem that don't want to be in a centralized control ecosystem, especially builders that want to be supported and want to be able to openly discuss. And even if that is a criticism of a joint community, and the majority of the community is thinking one way, someone can criticize it. And I don't know, I've had a lot of people criticize decisions that we made as a treasury, and all we did was have open discussions transparently and discuss it. And sometimes individuals made really good points, and the community then actually changed what they were deciding upon. Other times, their points really weren't made any difference, and the decision went on, but those individuals that were criticizing it didn't gain any momentum. They didn't gain any following, and I think that's the point, right? That's the point, is we want to reach consensus. If someone criticizes a decision that 5 people are making out of a group of 100, and it's one person doing that criticism, but then all of a sudden 3 people agree with it, and 5 people agree with it, and 30 people agree with it, well, those 5 people should seek out the consensus of the group. Too many times I've heard from, in the IOTA Foundation, of the community doesn't know how to govern themselves, so we have to do it. And that, to me, sometimes can be really good. Sometimes a smaller majority knows, but it also, you then develop a framework that can be, if that smaller group turns to where they're acting not in good faith, and making decisions against the majority, the framework just allows for this, and really negative things can happen. And I think that's something, do we as a group want to really make sure that we're allowing everyone to have a voice, but at the same time, and again, I a lot of the criticism against that I got from the IO Foundation was, if we do that, no decision can be made. And my response to that all the time was, well, then you set a time limit, And this is what we see in many organizations and governments, and this is just a standard decision-making process. Open discussion is open for a period of time. Everyone has an opportunity to come and have that discussion, and then that time period is closed and it goes on to a vote. So as long as we get to a vote, then these decisions can be made in a timely manner. Of course, one thing that I remember in different ecosystems is, how do we know everyone knows there's an opportunity to have that discussion? And that's kind of what this paragraph talks about. And it's just, I think I always found is, we need to identify where the community is most active and make sure that this discussion period is communicated to the broader community. So governance channel, of course, Discord, the general channel, of course, create a Discord announcement. Of course, it'll be in the Notion page. We have a Twitter account, and I believe there's a web page. If, let's say, that web page had updates or something, and then wherever in the future, like if we wanted to do a discourse. So again, it comes down to us. If we're going to create a truly decentralized governance process, we as a community need to participate. If it ends up being 1 or 2 people only, then, people may say, oh, look, really only 2 people are doing anything. I think that was the best thing that I saw with the community governance and the community treasury, is when really people started getting active, and then part of that was we were doing incentives to participate in Twitter and get the voice out. But that's the point, right? Like, and an incentive was that someone just posts about it. They might post good, they might post critical, doesn't matter as long as they post about it. So we as a group, as a community, really need to make sure that when someone's proposed something and we go into a discussion phase, then we get out there and we let as many people know. And there's still going to be people that aren't in the Discord, maybe aren't following the Twitter, and at the last minute when the vote comes said, well, I didn't know about this. It is what it is. I think the key is that we give everyone an opportunity to come and take part in that discussion freely and openly and fully transparently. So if anyone has any discussion about that, please, you can throw it in the chat on the right hand of the screen, or speak up. So yeah, so one thing is a time frame. I don't really know what that time frame looks like. Again, these aren't major decisions. I think one initial decision we can have is Seafarer is going to be working on an incentive kind of framework. So, we can start incentivizing maybe people to post on Twitter or to build something in governance or et cetera. Let's say maybe it's a voting that we can integrate into Discord, a module. So, that's something that we can propose, have a discussion about, and then eventually vote on. I'm waiting for Mr. Falzone to type his message. As a general concept, I don't believe any system is corruption-proof, nor is any system perfect for democracy. I totally agree. It's I don't remember the exact saying, but it's like you'll never reach perfection. You can only try for perfection, but you never actually reach perfection, and then it becomes a journey to get there, right? Having said that, is there any reason we couldn't begin with Shimmer IOTA approach to governance? Voting through wallet. So I think one of the issues there would be we're going to need to vote how to do the token distribution. So I guess we could do a layer 2 voting strictly on who's purchased TAN tokens to date. My maybe initial, I mean, again, these are just for small, we're just doing small decisions, but it's a good discussion point. Now, I know that I believe Charlie Varley from the Bloom wallet is looking to.
Hola, Pepe. Dime.
Hey, Javin, I'm gonna mute him. Javi, I just muted you just because it seems like there was some sound coming over. If you want to be unmuted, just simply text in the chat, please. This could be the initial voting approach to then vote if necessary on changes to the voting system. I think what we kind of discussed last week maybe was that that's the ultimate vision, to be able to have in-wallet voting. I think really it comes down to getting the distribution tokens distributed, and then we could vote to that system. I personally also like Discourse having that ability to I personally like the Discourse approach to where, what is accepted as a proposal, what is accepted in the discussion phase, and then what gets voted on by token votes is really good and almost kind of allows for a little protection than just going straight to a token vote. But I ultimately think token voting would be the way to go in the end. And then there's also, the layer 1, layer 2 we have to kind of figure out. But yeah, are you thinking token voting in the very, very beginning, like at this stage, just to decide if we want to give incentives to community